They're back. That's right. The Cinefellas boys are back once again for the 31 Days of Horror. Me and Uncle Logan over there have been reviewing movies and TV shows all month long for October and the 31 Days of Horror. And we are back with the sequel to 1982's Poltergeist. We're talking about Poltergeist 2.
The other side.
Let me eat. Why the hell won't you leave us alone? You are gonna die!
This is a movie like, did we really need a sequel? I thought Poltergeist was a perfect movie. And it wrapped up nicely, I thought, at least. I'm like, this movie don't really need a sequel. But here we are 4 years later, 1986, directed not by Tobe Hooper. Brian Gibson directs this one, and it really shows compared to the magic of the first film. Obviously, it was Spielberg writing and directing it too. But the family picks up the family again, the Freelings. You know, you have Jo Beth Williams, Craig T. Nelson, Heather O'Rourke playing Carol Ann, Robbie played by Oliver Robbins, and that's a family. They have the new house, and of course, sets up all the spooky atmosphere in part two.
Yeah, a new house, a new location for the Freeling family. So they think that they've escaped, all the hauntings that happened in the Poltergeist from the original film. But no, the family's being followed, and this time in the form of Julian Beck's Reverend Kane, who appears to the family one day, comes up to the door. Actually, they're walking, I think, by a mall, and that's where Carol Ann sees Reverend Kane. Reverend Kane kind of startles her, and, he seems like a nice enough guy. He's talking to her, and then she realizes that he's actually a ghost because when she's watching him walk away, he kind of disappears.
Yeah, he is a really creepy looking guy. Julian Beck played this. He looks like a skeleton. He has like the big teeth, sunken in eyes, but you're saying he passed away after the filming of this movie. But yeah, I remember watching this as a kid, and just terrified me seeing this dude and him walking up singing and then God is in your hands. Like just the rain and everything. Yeah, just really spooky. Probably one of the scariest parts of the movie is really with this character behind me.
Yeah, for sure. When he comes up to the house and he starts talking to Craig T. Nelson, and at first, seems nice enough, but then, Craig T. Nelson's like, get out of here. Can't talk to you right now. And then that's when Reverend Kane kind of turns evil there, and he's like, you're all gonna die. Man, that part really freaks me out. Really creepy part of the movie. You mentioned a lot of the magic from the first one isn't in this movie. It's just not. It does have some pretty cool monsters in this one, particularly the vomit monster that Craig T. Nelson had to deal with in that scene. Really gross and really cool practical effects. I was reading before this that H.R. Geiger was responsible for some of the effects that were done in the film. It looked good enough. It just didn't have the same story. It was kind of trying to repeat and take the magic of the first one and bring it over to a different location, different house. But unfortunately, it just kind of fell flat. It did involve Taylor, played by Will Sampson, the shaman, basically trying to get these demons and poltergeists away from this Freeling family. And they do a seance at the end. So there's some cool scenes having to deal with the spirit world and things like that. There's some respectable things to like about the movie. It just wasn't as cohesive and didn't feel as satisfying as the first movie did.
Yeah, that's the new writing, new direction. Again, a movie I didn't really think needed a sequel or a part three, but doesn't really capture that. The cast is good with what they're given. I just didn't scare me as much as I thought it as the first movie. Reverend Kane, obviously terrified me. One of the more iconic horror villains out there, but the rest of the movie, not so much. Practical effects look pretty good. The visual effects, not so much. Like I noticed towards the end, it just looks like them like on a string in front of a green screen. And I'm like, oof, that didn't hold up.
Yeah.
But, the performances are pretty good, which kind of more or less of the same of the first movie. And I did like Will Sampson's character as Taylor. I thought he was really good in this. Nice addition to the movie.
Yeah, I liked his interactions with Craig T. Nelson in the movie. They were busting each other's balls as it goes along. Taylor wants the car and, helps him fix it at first. And then Craig T. Nelson comes back home and it's broken down. He's like, hey, I want your car. So they had some funny moments together. But yeah, it felt that, it tied the theme of the first movie with them, having the house built on the ancient burial ground, doing with, the Indians being buried there, and, bringing in a Native American, Will Sampson, who brought over, obviously being a Native American and knowing the culture and the seances and that culture. And so it felt like a realistic, what you'd expect, seance to be, kind of at the end when he was performing it and trying to get those demons out of there. So yeah, there were some respectable parts of the movie. It's just, it doesn't live up to the original. It didn't have the same scares or, those memorable moments that you remember from the first one.
A pretty decent time during the Halloween season. If you're looking to get spooked, turn the lights off and just watch the scenes with Reverend Kane in this, and you'll be good for the rest of the month. But movie rewatch recently, doesn't hold up as much as I remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. Obviously, the first movie, Toby Hooper, Spielberg, the best. So that being said, I'm going to give Poltergeist 2 the other side. I'll give it a 3 out of 5 Julian Beck hair pieces.
Reverend Kane, it's very spooky, and he has a lot to do why I am going to rate this. It's not terrible by any means. It just wasn't as memorable at the first one, but his Reverend Kane was definitely, bone chilling, and it had some great performances, which boosted up my score a little bit. With that being said, I'm going to give Poltergeist 2, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 Carol Ann hair pieces.
Just want to hear from all you wild ghouls out there. What did you like about Poltergeist 2? What didn't you like about it? What's your favorite film in the franchise? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Also check out these wild vampires on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, cinephils.com, for latest, greatest TV, movie, news, and reviews.
So we are having a blast this 31 Days of Horror, and we're going to be back very soon with another horrific movie to review for you this 31 Days of Horror. So until the next Cinefellas 31 Days of Horror movie review, I'm Uncle Henry Hill.
I'm Uncle Logan T. Nelson, signing out until the next 31 Days of Horrors and Horrors review. Cheers!
Cheers!